Hey scholars, it's Mr. Santoni. Today we're going to do a review of yesterday's exit ticket. Yesterday was Monday, March 30th. And the reason we're going to do these reviews is because, like I told you before in class, we need to be comfortable with one another's writing. And I feel that we can learn the most from one another's writing. Not just me when I give you an exemplar response or I tell you the answer to something or I help you with something. I think some of the best points of reference are the peers around you, the friends in your class. Sometimes the strongest, most surprising writing comes from them, and that's what we're going to analyze today. I'm going to start with a few responses from yesterday's exit ticket that were a little bit less than exemplary and responses that need work. So remember, here's the question. How have the dehumanizing events of the Holocaust changed Ellie up to this point in night? Analyze key diction and or figurative language in your response. This response, Ellie said Ellie has basically seen everything dehumanizing during this time during the Holocaust. Everything Ellie has seen made him who he is. Ellie can't see things the same anymore because he's seen the worst during the Holocaust. Now, this response is not successful because the writer needs to be more specific regarding whatever these quote unquote things are. Remember, include textual evidence, include specific events, paragraph structure, follow it. You need an argument in the beginning in your topic sentence. Then you need context. What is happening around the events of what I'm describing and the evidence I'm going to supply? Then you supply the evidence and then we do analysis. So, this is not an acceptable response. This has received a 4 out of 10, which I will say is actually pretty lenient. We need to be able to express our ideas in a much more cohesive and a much more uniform manner. And we all know how to do that, and this is not it. So, moving on to the next one. This is another unacceptable response. Someone wrote, Ellie has changed a lot. He only cares about himself. Now, this goes without saying, but that's a 1 out of 10. Please do not write responses like this. They need to be at least one paragraph long and include textual evidence. This is a more successful response. This response starts out quite well and then it just kind of loses me after the evidence. So let's read it together. The evidence changed up Ellie by making him stronger emotionally and maybe physically. Before, when his father used to get beat up, Ellie had to stay silent, but on the inside he felt really bad and he was mad. But now, when his father got beat up, Ellie just stood there with no guilt and he was mad at his father, not the guy beating him. Now, uh, remember, please proofread your responses before you submit them. There are a lot of grammatical errors, which I am currently highlighting or trying to highlight. These responses make your ideas a little bit harder to communicate and it makes it easier, harder for me to read. So please watch out for those grammatical errors. Now, in this first sentence, which is a run on, by the way, I do understand the gist of what is being said, that Ellie all of a sudden has no guilt when things are happening to the people he cares about, which is accurate. That shows how he has changed. And the evidence is a little bit too long. It goes from here all the way down to here. The evidence needs to be quicker than that. It needs to be shorter. It needs to just be maybe one sentence showing us how he has changed or why he is changing. This is unacceptable analysis. This shows that instead of feeling sad for his father, he was mad at him. This is accurate. But in your analysis, try to get a little bit more in depth when it comes to what this quotation is saying. Tell me what is happening to whom, how it's changing Ellie. Not just that he's mad at him, but why is he mad at his father? What is the situation that is happening and continues to happen that is changing him? So, are you saying that Ellie is no longer sympathetic to his father, that he is more of a survivor now, that he values survival over the love of his father? There's many things that can be said, but it is not said in this exit ticket. This one is, again, being a little lenient with a 7 out of 10. Next response is more successful. There are parts of this is that still don't work, but there is effort. There is a lot of information here that I can work with, and based on this effort and some of the analysis used, I did give this one a 10 out of 10. So take some time to read this one. The dehumanizing events of the Holocaust changed Elliot to this point in night because the Jews became affected mentally, being told they were worthless and being forced to do work as if they were lesser people than the Nazis. Okay, this could have been said a little bit. This could have been a little shorter, the sentence. It could have just gotten right to the point. So something about the dehumanizing events of the Holocaust changed Elliot to this point in night, because he has been mentally changed, or because he has lost his faith in God, or because he's no longer sympathetic to his father. That would have been it, and that would have been good. This piece of evidence, "I was nothing but ashes now," is a good is a good short piece of evidence. Maybe you could zoom in on the ashes, showing that as that he feels like nothing, but he also feels like part of himself is crumbling, his identity is crumbling, that his perhaps empathy is crumbling, and that he's just focused now on being a survivor. Again, there is another piece of evidence that is also successful, and it is from the reading today. That was what life in a concentration camp had made of me. The analysis is a little bit lacking. This evidence conveys that the reason he has changed is because of the camp and the torture in it. That is accurate, but please use some of the professional and key language that we've been using in class that you used before, such as not just the camp and the torture, but the dehumanizing events, um, some of the trauma that he has experienced, some of the injustice, the silence of God, meaning the fact that God has not taken any action against these oppressors. Sorry, it's hard for me to speak today. So this one again, there's still a lot that works. It could definitely be improved, and we're going to get a little bit more into these exit tickets as the weeks go on. Last exit ticket, I believe, is one of the more successful ones. The dehumanizing events of the Holocaust change Ellie, which can be seen in the book at this point. Again, please be specific as to how he has changed. Tell me that in your first sentence, just so that I know right away what it is you are arguing. Ellie has lost his religion. He does not believe in God anymore. He questions, why would God allow this genocide to happen to religious people? He loses his faith in God, the Father, and loses his faith in his own father. So I like that duality right here in the context. He does lose his faith in God and religion, and he loses faith in his own father, which is something that's not like Ellie. He's usually very loyal and faithful to his family, as we know from the beginning of the book. For example, he just watches his father get beat up and hit for no reason. And then gets mad at the father for not doing anything. Before all this, he would have probably fought for his dad and not just stood there. Not stand, stood. And here's the part that's successful. Here, remember in the prompt, it says to analyze key diction and or figurative language, and that's what this scholar does. He uses the metaphor of his father being like an old tree split in two by lightning. He worries that he will lose his father. So see, this is how a metaphor or any figurative language can enhance an argument and really, really supplement what you are saying in really effective ways. He knows he has lost his heavenly father. Ellie becomes silent. Again, that word silent keeps coming up in the book, describing God and God's inaction, not acting out, not punishing those who are being unjust. But Ellie here becomes silent, invisible, and tries not to be noticed. He's just trying to survive, but fears that he will have to do this without his father. Again, you're bringing up how fear is also changing him. That's very, very good analysis, and he can't rescue both, so he chooses to only protect himself. So now we see Ellie's change come full circle. He is afraid. He's lost his faith in God, in family, his own father, and that has made him into just a stone cold survivor. He needs to survive this, and in order to do that, you need to be selfish. So I would say this is one of the more successful exit tickets. And thanks for listening. So we'll be doing this every single week with your responses so that we can read each other's work, become familiar with it, and learn from it. If anyone has any questions, please reach out to me. And I hope everyone is doing well. Just have a good rest of your day. Take care.